Facebook.
Yeah. What's good, Danger Zone Boxing Talk? It's your boy BC Left Hook, Danger Zone. And we're back with another episode of The Final Bell. As always, my co host is Twine B. Liberty. Today, we are blessed to be um introduced to Hide Your Baby Mama. Cause Sancho is free, Mr. Greg Hackett. I'll be reading your post, fam. That's why I know that. you know? But many of you might know Greg from the time that he was in the ring. He's been a guest on Ellie's YouTube channel quite a few times. I remember vividly one back in 2016 that you did with him. I'm gonna bring up in a little bit. I think about Deontay Wilder. But before we get into all that, why don't you introduce yourself? Let everybody know where you're from, what fighters you're currently working with, both amateur and pro, and just where everybody can follow you on social media.
Hey, how y'all doing, man? My name is Greg Hackett, 33 years old, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I've basically been in boxing for 21 years. I began boxing when I was 12. I stepped in the gym a little younger than that, but I say I always started at 12. You know what I mean? Father, two sons. Most of my career,
Hey,
well, all of my career, I've been on the B side. But it was a hell of a ride. I had fun. Been up against like Jared Hurd, uh, uh, Alexander, shit, a bunch of fighters. I don't know.
mm-hmm.
I had fun. I still coach. I've been coaching for the last 8 years. Um, I don't know. I fight once in a while. That's about it. I had fun
I
with this.
feel you. I feel you. I feel you. And like I said, I follow you on Facebook, man. I enjoy your boxing uh, opinions. I also enjoy your posts about stealing people's baby mama. Just don't come near my house, family. You know?
No, I ain't gonna do that.
But so tonight we're gonna get into some topics. First topic we're gonna talk is the Fury Wilder 3 fight that we all know is going to happen. Anyone who thinks that Wilder is going to take step aside money or any other way of Fury not fighting Wilder is just they're delusional. That fight has to happen because otherwise, yeah. I believe you'd have to give up his strap. And then what does he offer? Really, he don't offer the same thing to Anthony Joshua that he would with it. You know what I mean? But I remember an interview you had done back in 2016 with Ellie. And you was talking about how to beat Wilder. And you had said the way to beat Wilder was to pressure him, put the pressure on him. And in my opinion, from the time that Fury got up off the canvas in the 12th round, that's exactly what he did. He began to fight off the front foot. And once he fought off the front foot, he figured out Wilder has no answer for this. Now, do you still feel that's the optimal way? Because I guess because we've seen it, Fury fought that way the entire fight in the second fight and stopped him. Do you still feel that's the way to beat him, or not? And if so, what is Wilder gonna have to do? Because we know he's deep into his career. He's still making some of the mistakes he's made early in his career, in the middle of his career, still making them. What if it's still pressuring him? What is he gonna have to do to win that fight?
Well, to answer the first question, do I believe that's the way to beat him? You watched the fight. He was being pressured, and he didn't like it. And the reason I made that statement them years ago was simply because his makeup. With his makeup, you could tell he can't handle pressure. And what I mean by his makeup, I mean his body structure. He got real skinny legs. Real skinny legs on a tall guy. So that means he not able to apply pressure on his, actually sitting down on his own legs for too long. So if you push his legs backwards, he definitely won't be able to stand up for too long. So that's why I said what I said. Now, Tyson, I didn't know at that point saying that him and Tyson Fury would actually fight, but they did. Like you said, they went 12 the first time, but the second time he ended up stopping them, due to the point his own corner felt like he had enough, and he stopped the fight. And how that happens because Fury boxed him a little bit, but he didn't box him so much where he allowed Wilder to be the predator and push him around. He boxed him enough just where he kept a good distance where he can get right back to him. And Wilder didn't like it, and you see he slowed down, and it was because of other reasons, I believe, too. But Wilder's style, only reason he looks so bad is because his style is really not a style. He just figured out a way to get you out to win, and one of those ways is because he can punch. So he put a little bit of goofy rhythm behind it, a little bit of so-called footwork, and he cracked the shit out of you. That's it. Now, in order for him to beat a guy like Fury, he has to develop so many things that he may not ever be able to beat Fury. And I know that sounds crazy because we are talking about men. But at one time we thought Deontay Wilder was invincible. And you seen him get stopped. So now it's like, what can he do? But it's what we always knew. The power got him there, and that's all he really got. He don't have no skills.
Agreed.
No true skills.
Twine, what you want to add something?
I mean, I definitely agree with what Greg said as far as going backwards and pressuring them. There's definitely a little bit more to it, because we've seen Wilder go against guys that push him backwards before, like Areola and Spielford have tried to put pressure on him. But, they don't have the other intangibles that Tyson has as far as the footwork, being able to be shifty at his size. He's a whole lot taller than those guys as well. It has a whole lot more range and radius as far as his blocking distance. So, I mean, I definitely agree with you on that. But, there were those little outside intangibles that made it a lot more difficult for Deontay. I see moving forward as far as the third fight, the only thing he could do, I mean, he may need to add a little bit to his arsenal. It may be a little bit too late. Like we've seen Steve Cunningham put Tyson Fury down with an uppercut on the inside. So if he's going to be smothered, that might be a punch Deontay needs to incorporate into this fight.
Absolutely. And moving on from there, I think before we go, I do agree with everything that everybody said there. I don't see Wilder winning this third fight. I thought he lost both fights. I know other people disagree, but I thought he did. But moving on from there, I caught you also on an interview on Three Kings Boxing not too long ago with a friend of mine, IBN. And one of the discussions that came up, and we've talked about it too, was Floyd Mayweather training Devin Haney.
Yeah.
And you had made a statement. If we do that, we get called traitors. Were you talking from the trainer's perspective or the boxers?
I was saying from a trainer or a boxer. Mayweather isn't a trainer. Mayweather is a promoter and a fighter, but he's a promoter more so now. Than he is a fighter because he's so-called retired. So for your promoter to be training the ops, even if he is just giving them tips, so-called tips, you are going to look at it like, damn, that's fucked up. Like, I might fight that kid, and you showing him little shit. So is it like you trying to help him? You know what I mean? Because that's the ops. How would Floyd look at it from a fighter's perspective? So what I was saying was when you on that side of the thing of the game, like a fighter and a coach, and if you go against the promoter, then they'll bash you. But if a promoter do it to you, the promoter's always right, and you ain't shit.
Okay. Now me and Twine had a discussion about it, and my stance was I agree with you. You don't train the ops, but at the same time, I kind of get it. He's been around Devin since Devin was small. Two, I think that Floyd respects dedication, and I'm not sure that he actually sees dedication in Tank. Like, you know what I mean? Tank's had some issues with making weight. Tank's had some off out of the ring issues. We won't get into that, but they've happened. And I think that Floyd's a dude who respects that dedication that Devin has. You could tell Devin gets in the gym and Devin does work.
Hey, but look, let's think about this. Remember that sparring video of Floyd and Paulie Spatafora that got out?
Yeah, I remember.
And Floyd got his ass worked over, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that ain't look like dedication, did it?
No, but he was coming off a layoff though.
No, I'm making the point. I'm making the
I
point.
feel you.
I'm making the point. So then Floyd also in his career had problems and issues with guys like James Prince to the point where it had to get on the street level.
I feel you. Yeah, people know that.
And then also Floyd Mayweather had issues known about his baby mom, even when he had to the point he had to go to jail, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's just simply being called a young man. Tank Davis is a young man who don't have the same blessings that Devin Haney has. And what I mean by blessings is a father who stuck with him, who guided him through his whole career. Tank Davis is the total opposite of that. Floyd Mayweather is in between that because he had his father, but his father had to at some point go to jail and do what he had to do, and he was being trained by his uncles and this and that. But he never lived that Tank Davis life where Tank Davis ain't even have his father. You get what I'm saying? So he a little bit more over the edge. So what? But you know what I mean? You still chose to promote the kid. And how come you didn't promote Devin Haney?
I feel you. And B had disagreed with me. You want to go ahead with what your point was on that, fam?
I mean, this is the guy you're building up as your pay-per-view star. Like you can't do this, man. Like that's just out of pocket. You can't do that, especially if you're building up Tank the way you are. You can't do it knowing that they could possibly face each other at some time down the road, even. And what makes it worse is that this is the route Floyd wanted to go. Like he could always release Tank if that's what he's really feeling about the dedication thing.
Right.
So I mean, obviously he still feels there's something there with Tank. They just go through their little quarrels. Like you're saying, Tank's a young man. He's still bullheaded. Hard-headed in his ways. He's been through enough to where I feel like he could turn that corner already, though. Publicly, like he's had enough public incidents to where I feel like he might start turning the corner here.
Right.
He really understand it now.
Right.
Agree. Now, as you stated, you are training fighters, both amateur and pro.
Yeah.
What are some of the COVID protocols that y'all have implemented in your gym?
I mean, honestly, out of this whole experience, I only took off 1 week, and I took the week off just because everybody was complaining about me being in the gym and shit like that. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to take a week off. That actual week, I felt sick. You know what I mean? When I took off, I thought that was weird as shit. So I immediately got back in the gym the next week, and I've been in the gym the entire time.
Feel you. So like are you guys allowing any outside sparring? Because I know some gyms will cross look over to another gym and they'll when teams will spar with other kids. Are you guys allowing any of that right now?
During this whole quarantine, we've had Rasheem Jefferson's his whole squad coming to my gym and sparring. He has his son Rasheem Jefferson Jr. And a couple other guys, Corey James, a bunch of guys. And then Shakur Stevens came to our gym and sparred 2 days. Michaela Mayer came to our gym and sparred 2 days. What's his name? The kid from New York. They call him Africa. Richard Hitchison. He came to our gym and sparred 1 day. You know what I mean? We've been having work, on a regular. Everything's been the same, almost. The gym hasn't been as full, but we work it.
I feel you. Did you have anything you wanted to ask on that point, Twine?
I mean, has there been any protocols as far as like testing fighters, as far as the spars that come in from other gyms, or you guys haven't had to go that far?
Nah, it's kind of like it's not even really a such thing. You know what I mean? We're not really worried about it at this point because it's like what it's gonna be is gonna be. We need to be in the gym because as you can see, they springing these fights up on people, and they calling guys short notice, and you got to go ahead and put on.
I feel you. Speaking of the fights that's been going on, Twine, you want to open it up with about last night's card?
Last night's or the title fight.
You want to talk about the flyweight? Yeah, we can talk about that too. I picked the wrong guy. Admit it.
Who won that fight? I didn't get to see that last fight.
Which one? The flyweight, the W.
Yeah,
I go to you said we kind of went to the WBA.
Mm-hmm.
WBA, a super flyweight title fight between Joshua Franco and Andrew Maloney, who was making his first defense of the junior bantamweight title, and he lost on points to Joshua Franco, who was the underdog. Fighting out of Robert Garcia's gym in Oxnard, and he pulled off the upset in this one.
Okay.
What do you think about this one as far as Malachi? I mean, if you want to get a breakdown of what you saw in it.
I think Franco was clearly the better man on that night. He also was the bigger man. We know he was coming down from Bantam. He'd already had one fight, stopped the guy in the 9th round. But it wasn't so much his size, because he fought a patient fight. And once he timed Maloney coming in and realized that when Maloney comes in, he's just wide open, he just started laying the leather on him. I mean, look at his face. It got busted up. He started bleeding. Then he dropped him. And I don't know what other people thought. I thought early on in the fight, Maloney was doing good until Franco got that rhythm down. And once he did that, it was just his fight. But the scorecards, man, and some of the scorecards, even that, we'll get into that one later, Nova last night. One of them, what was it, 99, 91? That was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I mean, so the scorecards dictated that Franco had to have the knockdown if you go back and look at him, which I didn't think he even needed the knockdown to win the fight. I thought he was winning, and Maloney by the 11th round probably needed a knockout, but which wasn't coming, even though he threw a ton of punches. But that's what I saw. Twine, you want to touch on what you seen?
Yeah, I mean, what I saw pretty much, I felt like Franco, he had an educated left. Like, he could have missed starting like 2nd round, whether it was the left hook or the left uppercut. Like, he was landing on it. And that's starting that round 2, but then he started getting the timing down better. And I felt like by round 5, it was pretty much Franco's fight. He was starting the combos were changing. Early on in the fight, Maloney was throwing the heavy combos, and by round 5, it was Franco that was throwing 5-6 combos, and Maloney's going down to 1 or 2 punch combos. If you're looking at it, by round 8, you got Maloney going backwards finally, just applying pressure, and he's still teeing off 5-6 shots at a time, still landing the left, and he opened up that cut eventually in round 11. But I mean, he was able to counter Maloney all night. I kind of feel like this is another Joshua Greer incident. Like, I felt the same way about the Maloney twins as well, and pretty much proved it. So now he has a regular title, WBA regular title, and we'll see what happens with him.
But I wonder too, like Greg has said, they calling some of these dudes on short notice. I wonder how much they actually knew about Franco before they got him in the ring. I mean, he had just fought that 4-fight classic with Homeboy at bantamweight, and so I wonder how much did they actually know about him before going into that fight. I'm not privy to how much information they had or when they got the call, but. That was a fight I might not have took, because he was actually supposed to fight the brother, Jason. So, I mean, and he dropped down in weight and everything. And granted, that was a fight ago, but still, I just wonder how much he knew about that kid, because I might not have took that fight. Not for my first title defense. Yeah,
it's going to be a lot of that going on.
Now, last night, we'll start with the Nova and Sparrow fight. I thought it was an excellent fight. A lot of ebb and flow. The only thing that I didn't have a problem with the winner. I know some people thought Avery won. I don't have a problem with that either, because that to me, that's how close of a fight was. But that 99-91 scorecard was just absolutely ridiculous, and it's just becoming a pattern. Like what was the score Dave Moretti put in not too long ago? It was just atrocious. So some of these guys, I'm like, yo, when are they going to have to start making explanation for what the hell are you seeing that's causing you to score these cards this way?
That's been a concern with Dave Moretti, though. Like he's always.
Yeah. Did you what did you think of that fight? Did you watch it last night?
Yeah, that was an exciting fight because of how technical it was. And I mean, each guy had to be very careful. One, because Abraham Nova was in great shape. Two, because Avery Sparrow is very tricky in the ring, very, very crafty, and very knowledgeable. So it came down to conditioning, and I felt like it was a close fight up until 8, 9, and 10. I thought Nova pulled away.
Yeah, I thought he won the last 4 rounds, because I was in a chat group talking about when we was watching the fight. I think I had him win in the last 4. I'd have to go back and look to be sure. Now, Twine, what did you think of the main event last night?
I actually missed last night's card, dog.
Did you? Okay, yeah. Okay. We'll go ahead and skip over that then, because there is a question I've been wanting to ask Greg. I've actually had a conversation with a mutual friend with ours, IBN. We used to dominate the Olympics. You know what I mean? And now we haven't had an Olympic champion, gold medalist, since Andre Ward, outside of Clarissa Shields. And I want to throw that. I don't want to be disrespectful to Clarissa Shields, period. Yes. The queen of boxing, but what I'm talking is we haven't had a gold medal in the men's event since Andre Ward.
Yeah.
What is going on? Like, one of the things is I'm slowly getting back into learning, the amateurs that I just can't agree with is the fact they make these kids make a coaching switch over to their coaches. So, Greg, what do you think needs to improve? What do you think needs to change? And why are we not pulling gold medals in these Olympics? I know some of the cards have been bad, but still, it's a pattern.
Well, all right. So this is how it goes. America in the past put out the best fighters.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be 17, you could be 30, but if you were the best in your division, then you win. Now, the overseas, they put the experienced fighters. Because sometimes if you notice, they'll be like, oh, this is his second Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Guys like Lomachenko, Gamboa, Rigondeaux. Some of those guys fought 2, 3 Olympics. So they damn near 30 years old by the time they turn pro. Or, you know what I mean, they may be 30. So you're fighting these grown men. So that's why America was putting out the best fighters. But then over time, I guess this whole thing with image and being a poster boy and being a golden boy, they started kind of picking the more popular fighters instead of the best fighters.
Kind of like what happened to Tiafimo.
Huh?
Kind of like what happened to Tiafimo, right?
Yeah, I guess politics. So. It's politics. It's very political, and that's why I'm not a real big fan of amateur boxing, because it's super political, and you shouldn't do that to amateurs. You know what I mean? They're giving it all they got. So we putting these guys who are poster childs because of their looks, and we putting them in there with these grown men, and they getting ran over. Or like you stated early on, I trained with my coach for 12 years, and then for the last year, I'm gonna run a guy I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm used to doing something one way, not one way, but my way, and that got me here. But now that I'm here, I'm being either lied to, or you got a guy that's kind of just like he taking a ride.
Mm-hmm.
So he telling you, like Earl Spence, when he lost, the coach was telling him that he was winning.
Mm.
So he kind of laid back. With him laying back, he lost the last 2 rounds because he kind of gave him away. He gave it away. So it's like, I think you should have your original coach. You should have your original coach, and I think they should pick the best fighters instead of the popular fighters.
Okay, and Twan, what do you want to add to that?
I mean, I think there's definitely been some kind of switch because I mean, Americans have always been seen as having a more pro style as opposed to an amateur style that we see from the dominant countries right now, to where you're throwing punches.
Well, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think another thing I noticed is the trainers overseas stealing or being taught a lot of our techniques and then taking it home with them and not, you know what I mean? That's something I see.
If you look at the Ukrainians, possibly with Anatoly Lomachenko, like he might be one of the few, I can say, but for the most part, like their styles are a lot more different. Like they're more rugged, I think, as far as Tajikistan and some of the Eastern European countries that are dominant in amateur boxing right now. They're just more rugged. It's no technique, it's no style, and I mean, I think that's the difference between American amateur style and what's actually winning these guys Olympic medals right now. Is that it's not a point system, but they're going to go on the guy that's looking like he's more active. And the American is looking more clean and sharper in technique, but he's not as active as the guy. So I mean, I think that's one of the things that's the problem. Another problem is like we can't get the young guys to go into the Olympics anymore. If you look at Devin Haney, he forewent his opportunity to join the Olympics. I forgot there was some kind of criteria. I'm not sure if Greg can clear this up for us, but it was something with his age. The way
they changed the age because a long time ago you could go at like 16, 17, but I think they changed it to like 18 now.
Okay, because there's another young guy that's coming up under TMT that's about to turn pro that he had to make the same choice in Jalil Major Hackett. He had to make the same choice of going pro because he wouldn't be allowed to fight in the Olympics. So, I mean, like, we're not getting our best talent in there for stupid stuff like this.
So, well, that's a funny situation because that kid is very young. And he is somewhat of like a man child because he works in the gym with a lot of pros. I seen him like sparring. He always sparring pros and shit like that. But turning pro is a big step, and you need that. You need those amateur accolades to make money. They're getting guys to turn pro because they can get them for cheap. If you think about it, it's like a kid leaving high school. I can get him for cheap instead of him going to college for 2 years and winning national championships back to back. Now we got to pay him more because he's more accomplished. He got more paperwork. So what you seeing with these young guys, yeah, they are somewhat man-childs, but at the same time, it's like, because I can get them for $150,000 instead of having to pay $800,000.
Okay, I get exactly what you're saying because I get some, I watch a lot. I've been watching a lot of amateur YouTube stuff. Had some people send me some amateur videos. I've seen some kids as young as 15 lay it on a couple well-known guys, man, and it wasn't shocking. I was like, wow, that kid's a beast, and I can't wait for him to, get 18 and turn professional because I can see what he can do. So with when I said I think that they've stolen some of our style when it comes to teaching techniques, I meant mostly to the professional ranks. But I get what you're saying because there is a European style, but a lot of when I watch a lot of their fighters coming out of the Ukraine and a couple of their younger guys, they're starting to get the rhythm and movement, and I could tell they're being taught some American techniques. Right. I mean, like you got Ali Bashir that he trained some guys over there.
Usyk,
and so that's always something that IBN talks about, and I respect him for talking about that. You know what I mean? That's a solid dude. His son's a beast, and I expect big things from him in the future. Now, Twine, what was our next topic, fam?
Let me take a look. Guess we could go into.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about Sergio Martinez coming out of retirement. Did you see that today, Gray?
No, Actually heard about it when you told me. I ain't heard nothing about it.
He had talked about, and it's something that's been happening a lot since I think the COVID lockdown. We've seen so many older retired guys talk about it. I even made a meme about Oscar, his condition 5 minutes before that. But why are all these guys all of a sudden? Like, there's no reason for Martinez to come out. Like, he's proved everything he has to prove. He was an excellent fighter, world champion, great guy. Same with Oscar and all of them. Oscar talking about he want to come back and fight real competition. Like, so you want to get knocked out is what you're saying. I don't understand. Why do you think these guys want to do this, man?
Well, if you want to act, I mean, if you want to say because of after COVID, like if you want to use that, it's because fighters are wild animals. So you asking a guy to stay in the house for 3 months and not do shit. So inside of a fighter, he's like, man, I gotta get out. So you watching all these TV shows, all these movies, you getting ideas. So you're like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna fight because I'm feeling good. I've been resting. I've been getting some sleep. I've been probably getting in the hot tub, getting massages and whatever. Just getting some time to wind down. So they probably start feeling good. And next thing you know, fuck it, I'm bored, work out. Oh, I actually feel a little better. Let me see if I can get a fight and make some more money. Because with their names, they're gonna always make money.
I would like, actually, you know, if I could see Oscar De La Hoya fight Martinez, that would be a pretty good one. I think that, you know, they're both been away. You know, I think Martinez is, you know, obviously he's been away less time. It's just a question because, in my opinion, that knee was just his downfall. It was the end of him because his style was so dependent on his athleticism. Once his knee was gone, you know what I mean. But I think as long as they fought each other, I'd be cool with it. Would you be cool with watching that fight, Oscar versus Martinez, bro? Twine?
At 160, definitely. Definitely. Oscar's been talking about the 160. You know, that was Sergio Martinez's final campaign weight. So I definitely would be up for seeing that. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely watch it. You know, Sergio saying he's feeling good as far as his knee. So, I mean, you know, we might be able to see him on his bike against Oscar and see what Oscar really got to pull out of it.
All right. Now, before we went on, I was checking out the cards that Matchroom released today, and I can't remember the date. You have to remind me of the date. But the big one to me was White versus Povetkin.
August 24th, I think. August 24th.
Okay, and that one intrigues me a bit. Now White's been making some noise lately. He's threatened to sue for his mandatory, you know, rightful spot to fight. He's not going to move aside. So really, I was talking to my wife. I was like, so in all honesty, Homeboy's going to have to fight Wilder. Then he's going to have to fight White unless he vacates. And I just don't see him vacating. So then he's going to have, in order to get those two fights with Anthony Joshua that they hyped up for 2 weeks, and he went on and did the IG video about. Now, Povetkin is still I've never been as high on Povetkin as other people. It's just, I think he's a little too small for the way the heavyweights are built now. You know, but I favor White in this fight. I'm gonna let Greg start off, and then you take over, Twine. Then I'm gonna finish up with what I think. What do you like about that fight, and who you got winning?
What I like about that fight is both guys are definitely going to throw their hands. Both are aggressive. Povetkin, I think, has a little bit of the better skills, but I think White is just explosive. He definitely going to put you through it. You know what I mean? No matter who Dylan White fight, he going to put you through it. I think both guys are not over the hill, but, you know, they got some wear and tear. Povetkin, he's had some crazy setbacks with the steroids. I think that shit is wild because you could kill a guy in that ring. But at the same time, you know what I mean? But this is how he make his money. So I can see why he keep coming back. But that's actually a good fight, a 50-50 fight. I will watch it. Definitely will watch.
Twine, what do you think about that fight?
I mean, I got some mixed emotions on it, because a lot of it depends on the shape that Dylan White comes in. We see him in his last fight; he was overweight still. It was a short notice fight though, so I'm gonna give him that one. But like he's came in on the heavy side in a lot of fights, even in the Chisora fights. We've seen Chisora outwork him pretty much for 2 fights outside of Dillian White knocking him out. So I thought Chisora first fight, and the second fight I thought Chisora was ahead, outside of the knockout. So I mean that's where I'm leaning towards now is that Dylan White is going to knock Publican out with like a left hook or something. But I think Publican is definitely going to make it a rough fight for him. He's going to test him. His output is high. He's going to make Dillian work, and this might be another fight where we see Dillian sit back and just pick that shot like he did against Chisora in the rematch. Because I definitely don't see him outworking Povetkin. He has some good body work, but Povetkin has a high motor still, even at his age. Like you said, Malachi, he's always just been too small for the division, and like I think that's going to be the thing that gets him taken out by knockout.
Yeah, when I say too small, what I mean is to beat the elite fighter. Like when you saw him versus Klitschko, there was just the size difference, his ability to keep him at the end of that jab, and then when Klitschko fully extends you and he catches you, you're going to sleep, and he just kept putting him on the mat. I don't did he knock? I don't remember off the top of my head. Did he not Did he stop Povetkin, or did that go to a overwhelming scorecard? I can't remember right now, man. You know what I mean? But
stopped in like the 7th or something.
I think so too, if I remember right. But that's always the impression I came away with about Povetkin. Very skilled guy. He does pack a punch. I just against the elite fighters like a Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder or what we've seen him against AJ. I just don't think he's big enough to beat the elite guys because of the size differential. Now White, I have some questions about White. I mean the kid that he beat from Poland, I think in his last fight. Now that guy got stopped by Miller in the 9th round. He got stopped. What's the kid from Guana? Bacoli? He got TKO'd by that guy too. So he had a tough fight with that guy. Then he had a tough fight. The kid from Colombia in the fight before that dropped him in the 9th. He was losing the Chisora fight. If you go look at the judges' scorecard, 2 of the judges had Chisora up 95-93.
I think Chisora won for those fights, but of course the knockout in the second one. But I had Chisora winning on both times.
And the only thing that I think he's a younger man. I think he's a little bit bigger than Povetkin. They've both been stopped by Anthony Joshua. I like the fight because I agree. I agree with Greg. They're both going to let their hands go. It's going to be somebody's getting knocked out. Yeah. I feel like it's Povetkin, but I could be wrong. I've missed the last 2 main events on the top ranked cards. I picked the wrong guy, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Just like that Sooners jersey, boy.
I'll tell you. He poking fun at my Sooners, Greg, college football. But well, it looks like that was our last topic for the night. Greg, man, I want to thank you for coming on, talking boxing with us. Hope you can come on again sometime, and in the future we talk boxing again. If you enjoyed it. And Twine is. Oh, I want to say that our Friday show next week is actually going to take place on Monday due to the holiday. So we'll shoot the actual final bell on Monday. We're going to have once again a podcast roundtable. When we come back on July the 10th, we're going to have Mark Maxayo, the new prospect signed by Manny Pacquiao Promotions. He's going to actually be in LA on July the 1st. So we're excited to talk to him. And we're putting together some other guests after that. So I just want to thank everybody who's been supporting, our podcast here on this on the page. Everybody that supported the page in the past, the page is about you guys as much as it's about us. So we want to thank you. And Greg, is there anything you want to say to everybody before you leave, sir?
No, man, I just appreciate y'all, man, for having me. And for the people support boxing. You know what I mean? I hope in some way I can support you. You know, and hopefully, you know, I'm still around the next 40 years.
Yes, sir. All right, Twy, anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah, I just want to thank Greg again for coming on, man. It's been nice having you on as far as talking these topics. You actually follow the sport. I know a lot of trainers don't necessarily follow, you know, all that's going on. So it's nice to have one of you guys come on that follows deeply.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. And then we out.
All right, peace.
Good night, everybody.
All right.